Welcome back. More now in our continuing election series. We have 2 weeks now till Election Day, and we're looking at what's at stake today for the energy markets. Will there be any energy or climate change legislation to emerge from the new Congress? We're joined today by Kevin Book, Managing Director at ClearView Energy Partners. Kevin, I can't believe I'm even asking you this question coming out of the disaster we had with BP this past year. I mean, can we actually expect nothing to get done?
Sure. The expectation that nothing gets done is, I think, everyone's favorite prediction. It would be wrong in this case, though. It's the spill bill that you might have expected is not what we expect, but there's room for at least one compromise legislatively next year on power plants. Other than that, though, it's going to be a game of pressure from the Hill against the administration.
So what does remain in focus? Cap and trade, can we assume that to be by the wayside as we get some of these other issues addressed?
Yeah, cap and trade has acquired a stigma unlikely to bring it back to the Hill anytime soon. In fact, what we're talking about next year for power plants is a subset of the things that could have been in a power plant regulated bill in cap and trade and everything else. NOx, SOx, and mercury, the pollutants that are regulated today, not greenhouse gases, are a problem for generators. And the rules the administration put forth to try to encourage debate that led to a climate bill, those rules are still there. And so Congress has room and probably a propensity to solve that. That is, again, the sole area we think for legislative compromise. Could be positive in that it could drive new demand for natural gas, but it's negative relative to some people's expectations that a huge swath of coal-fired power is going to be imminently shut down.
Wow. So the expectation had been that the coal industry was kind of dodging a bullet here.
Yeah, well, they dodged one bullet only to get hit by maybe the booby trap under their feet. The problem is that if you're trying to get Congress to do something, you might have prodded them with regulations. The expectation is that Congress would have done something. They didn't. Those regulations are still there. Clean air regs are going to force power plants to make some tough choices next year.
Right, and we know that the so-called Proposition 23 on the ballot out in California has put clean energy in the crosshairs, but it sounds like you're saying, bottom line, this goes nowhere in the new Congress. We were talking to Kevin Gardner just yesterday, and he says he senses this new wave of conservative populism and anti-business sentiment that will even permeate the Republican Party. Do you agree with that, and what does that actually mean in terms of regulation or legislation?
Well, what it means if Republicans take the House of Representatives, to say nothing of the Senate, is that you'll have people who are in an energy sense, they may have more heart behind conventional fuels, but they'll probably have less money. Your hard conservative wing of the Republican Party, the Tea Party movement, is essentially saying we don't want to subsidize the high-cost sources and we don't want giveaways for anyone. If that is, in fact, the way the election comes out with that kind of momentum, it means that you'll have the theoretical possibility of new demand supports in a weak market, but no money behind it. In other words, not very much for business.
All right. Anything for nat gas?
Yeah, the winner in the long game appears to be nat gas on a generating side. But the question is, what do you do to get there? The climate bill would have spent billions of dollars to give new incentives for cars and trucks. That's not there with Republicans in the new Congress. So it's modestly positive, not excessively so.
We'll see what T. Boone has to say about that. Thank you very much, Kevin Book of ClearView, for joining us today.